Yep, that's right. 1 o'clock, 13 seconds, and this is Unsurpassable Justice with yours truly, BrotherRA, the brother who has always got something to say each and every day. OMG. So, let's move right into the show. We don't have too much time to waste. Now, let's just go ahead and begin with this is January 16th, the day after Martin Luther King Day. And you're looking at the picture of outside CCTV, Cambridge Community Television, public access, and we may be losing our funding if they don't deal, what is it, the Comcast or whatever doesn't want to format or fund this type of programming here at CCTV. I wonder about that. Well, here we go. BrotherRA.com. And, yes, let me give you the palatial sweet shot. And 2 minutes into the show, 57 minutes isn't long enough, but let's go ahead and deal the best way we can. Being calm, cool, relaxed, and the day after Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. I wonder if there's a spell on my mind. That was a sock. That was a song. And actually, let me give you the prelude real quick. Tell you this is going to be an X-rated show. If you can't handle BrotherRA conversation and talk, flip the channel. I don't want to hear it. Because there may be some expletives shit, you know what I'm saying? Because there might be a spell on my mind. And I, BrotherRA, continue the dream of melanin-dominant black men with a liquid pineal gland. When I was writing this, the song Superfly was playing. Ha! What is the depth of yourself? Your self-esteem, your confidence, your mind, your imagination. Do you allow yourself to go that deep into you? Are you limitless? Can we get lost in each other? The song playing, let me make sweet love to you. Do you make sweet love to yourself? Do you allow yourself to love you that much? Appreciating being melanin dominant, mothers and fathers of nature, of life. Do you ignite the chi within you? That's the internal energy in this vessel. Do you feel the colors that you bring in this one verse, the universe? On all levels. of perception, at a very acutely sensitive level of relaxation. No fear. It is written, love thy neighbor as thyself. But anyone teach melanin dominant black, brown, red, and yellow folk how to love being a child of the sun? Accessing the fluid moisture of the liquid pineal gland, that balancing element in the muscle of the brain. Welcome into 2019. Media that shares a sense of balance, yin-yang within self. No more containing myself. I am that black dot, working on reaching further and further and further into who I am. Spend daily time venturing within yourself, looking into your own left pupil in the mirror, seeing your own black dot, appropriately named pupil. You allow you to study motherfucking you. That's a sermon. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Are you worth looking into? Or are dead slaveholders more fucking valuable? You have time for what? We are all born alone, die alone. What do we choose to do in between? It is taught, seek and ye will find. I have chosen to find me. The media I have created is an autobiographical journey inward into what it means to be black, melanin dominant, in a calcified pineal gland societal value structure. Let's do it this way. No advertising. Oh, that's a memory stick. That's not the lighter. 8 minutes into the show. Damn, yo. All right. A hallucinogen. So much to cover, so little time. We're living in a system that devalues the one who is born. Today you are just a statistic, one of 7 billion. Not another life being to help, aid, and assist, reaching their full value and potential as one who reaches from top to bottom in a full 360-degree sphere like a lollipop. Can you see? I brought my globe. Do you tap into the full sphere of all of life? No limits, no fear. You, with your spine plumb erect, the one axle or axis, chin level, with self-esteem and confidence, connecting all there is to connect within you. A horse can be led to water, but it can't be made to drink. I want you to want me to. Let's get into the hardcore programming now. That was already conversation. Now we need to jump into the other aspects of BrotherRA.com. And what would I do that for? I need these. Let's go ahead and jump into let's bring this screen up. You know, this black man lived at 20 Flagg Street, right here in Cambridge. Now, is this document going to come up for me, or do I have to go to the other location? Okay. Well, as I'm searching for that, let's go ahead and show you. Did you know Malcolm X? He lived at 20 Dale Street. I'm like, what about the chi and the energy of the ancestors that still reside in the energies if you allow yourself to go that deep within? I'm expressing the sentiments of a liquid pineal gland living on this land. And, this is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And this site is still not. Alright, so I showed you that. How about if I go ahead and jump into Time Is Not My Friend? Since this is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, as I try to research, I can't do that. Alright, here you go. We're going to pick up with this conversation, and
this decision was rendered on May 17, 1954. It said in substance that the old Plessy doctrine must go, that separate facilities are inherently unequal, and that to segregate a child on the basis of his race is to deny that child equal protection of the law. And as a result of this decision, we stand on the threshold of the most creative and constructive period in the history of our nation in the area of race relations. When that decision was rendered, 17 states and the District of Columbia practiced segregation in the public schools. But today there are only 4 states left that have not made any change, or that have not made any move toward desegregation in the public schools. And so we can see that as a result of the 1954 decision of the Supreme Court, we have made some meaningful strides. To put it figuratively in biblical language, we've broken loose from the Egypt of slavery, and we've moved through the wilderness of segregation, and now we stand on the border of the promised land of integration. Now the great challenge facing the nation is to move on. It would be a marvelous thing if I could stop my speech at this point, bring an end, and just take my seat. First, it would mean making a short speech, and it's always nice to make a short speech. And it would also mean that the problem is solved in America, and that we don't have anything to worry about. But you see, if I stop at this point, I would merely be stating a fact and not telling the truth. You see, a fact is merely the absence of contradiction, but truth is the presence of coherence. Truth is the relatedness of facts. Now, it is a fact that we've come a long, long way, but it isn't true, because we've got to add the other side to it. And if I stop at this point, I will leave you the victims of a dangerous optimism. If I stop at this point, I will leave you the victims of an illusion wrapped in superficiality. So in order to tell the truth, it is necessary to move on and say not only that we've come a long, long way, but we have a long, long way to go. Now, we need not look very far to see that side of the equation. I mentioned the fact that lynchings have about ceased in America, but other things are happening just as bad. We look around and what do we see? We see the legislative halls of many of our states ringing loud with such words as interposition and nullification. We see certain organizations emerging, like the White Citizens Council, the Ku Klux Klan, stating that they will use any method to preserve segregation. And we see physical violence at many points. Homes, churches, synagogues, schools are being bombed in an attempt to block the desegregation process which is taking place in the nation. All of this reveals that we have a long, long way to go. I mentioned that we've made strides in the area of voter registration. The fact that we have about 1,300,000 Negro registered voters in the South is quite significant. But then we must admit that we have a long, long way to go in this area. For there are 5 million Negroes who are eligible to vote in the South. And many of these persons are not voting today, not merely because of apathy, but because of external resistance. And all types of conniving methods are still being used to keep Negroes from becoming registered voters.
And, okay, there's several points in my state of mind currently that I wish to differentiate with. I was looking for the writings of W.E.B. Du Bois talking about he couldn't find housing on Harvard's campus. And he was a black man that lived behind my house. Grew up on Putnam Ave. And this melanin-dominant black man couldn't live in Harvard, but he had to find his own housing. That's the late 1900s. I have his words here in picture form, and Are we the target? Are you capable of acknowledging all of your internal self? Not just on a denotative level, but a little bit more on the connotative level. The innuendos, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about the knee grows. Your knees grow? I'm talking about being melanin dominant, understanding what it means to be a child of the sun, the S-U-N, and vibrate with all of the frequencies. Target. So, do you just see yourself as the target in the whole, or are you capable of unifying all of yourself into one? How is that one drawn from top to bottom? You acknowledging the full aspects of your mind and imagination. What have we endured as melanin dominant people? I'd like to share a little bit of reading with you from The Hidden History of Massachusetts, the controversial black bestseller. And Cradle of Liberty. There's a greater portion of misery condensed within a smaller space than had ever existed in the known world. Lord Granville on the New England slave trade. Since the arrival of the Pilgrims in 1620, Massachusetts has claimed to be the enlightened moral center of the world. After all, it is claimed the rudiments of democracy and doctrines of religious liberty developed on her shores 383 years ago. Moreover, many Americans will claim today that black slavery was the Southern enterprise that ever occurred. Americans will claim that today's black slavery was a Southern enterprise that never occurred in the North. Indeed, they will unshamedly maintain that some blacks in colonial times were free to enjoy the benefits of liberty, just like the founding fathers, that the northern whites abhorred the system of slavery and fought for blacks to win their freedom. Massachusetts is foremost in penetrating this ludicrous historical fraud. But deep within the historical record is another story altogether. The early Bay settlers talked of freedom, but led the nation by example in their cruel genocide of the red man. The legislature of Massachusetts colony was the first to welcome officially the African slave trade. In fact, many proper Bostonians built their fortunes upon that despicable enterprise. Massachusetts became America's leading slave ship builder. And sent one expedition after another into Africa to rape, pillage, and plunder her black humanity. In one slave expedition originating in Massachusetts, 100 Africans were murdered by Boston merchants on African soil, and a Medford merchant murdered 26 Africans on the voyage to the Caribbean. Gangs of chained Africans were landed on the docks of Boston and Salem by white Massachusetts merchants, auctioned alongside hogs, lumber, cask of cheese, destined for a life of hopeless bondage, laboring without wages under the stinging whip of the white colonists. Even Peter Faneuil, a man who gave Boston the Great Hall of Liberty, opened a slave ship and kept black Africans a slave. When a white man died, he simply passed on the Africans he enslaved to his survivors, who dutifully maintained the cycle of oppression and racial hatred. Many of the children of Massachusetts merchants still live on the dividends of the stolen profits and wages due the black race. Today, the legacy of the Commonwealth's hidden past is broadcasted in the names of her landmarks, schools, towns, squares, streets, and the celebration of her forefathers. The town of Amherst, for instance, is named for Sir Geoffrey Amherst, the Adolf Hitler to the Indians of the 18th century. Captain John Codman of the Dorchester Codman Square family was killed by the very Africans he enslaved in his home. Freedom rider Paul Revere grew up in a slaveholding family. Governor Dudley, for whom Roxbury Dudley Square is named, was a bona fide white supremacist. And men with familiar names like Bowdoin, Winthrop, Peabody, Maverick, and Everett all played a role in the formation of the Massachusetts system of slavery. The Massachusetts! Let's go, Patriots! Yeah! We gotta go to Kansas City, kick them those Chiefs' ass! Woo! A melanin-dominant black man with an hallucinogen tapping in to the ancestral spirits and chi and understanding of individual self, going deep, deep, deep within. My chi, my energy, there's so much to tell you. This is this month's picture. I told you about the black calendar, the racial history of injustice, January 2019. Massachusetts, okay. How were we as melanin-dominant people dealt with and treated? Dorothy Roberts, And most of the information I'm sharing with you is in past weeks' programmings. But this is the culmination of, not the culmination, but the continuation of tell me who I am. Who am I? A melanin-dominant black man tapping into my individual self. Individual. How is individual spelled? I divided inwardly. But if we take the time with ourselves to go deep within ourselves, melanin dominant individuals, yellow people, dealing with the wise man, looking out the window at the serpent and the bird. The beginning of meditation and movement, or Tai Chi. So, this is my master's shirt, Roxbury Tai Chi Academy, Master Heege Robinson. And I don't have a problem calling a man who looks like me, a black man who's sharing wisdom and knowledge, how to deal with myself. Comfortably and confidently being that spine, allowing myself to go deep, 4,000 miles deep to the center of the core of the earth, stand on the crust of the core. The center of the earth. Drop off your negativity and allow the positivity to rise up through the balls of your feet to the heel of your foot, up your legs to your pelvis, and then up to the mind, the liquid pineal gland. Reach that higher level of relaxation within self confidently. Tai Chi, meditation and movement. When I'm talking about moving, and issuing chi, or having internal divinity, or acknowledging oneself. So W.E.B. Du Bois lived on 20 Flagg Street. I grew up on Putnam Ave, went to Corporal Burns Park, DuBois Street, portable school, because the Martin Luther King School was being built after the Houghton School got tore down. And I'm a little boy. I'm trying to figure out who am I and what is my life about? How do I make a decision? So, I told you the show would be controversial, right? Try not to leave out any minutes, any pieces, but Du Bois, near my house, Malcolm X, in the speech you heard from King, he was out in Worcester. before his assassination. And he was discussing certain things about, from a Christian mindset, and searching for an energy outside of yourself, living under the puritanical rule of the colonists and the fucked up mindset. Where Nana used to say, if you're brown, you can stick around. If you're black, you better get back. But if you white, you all right. DuBois King in Worcester, Closter, and today's his birthday, or yesterday was his birthday. I visualize me making it to 57. My birthday's a month from tomorrow. So, 57 years on the planet. DuBois lived on Flagg Street, late 1900. Make the 1800 19th century, because we're in the 21st century. And it's now 19 years into it. Malcolm lived in Dorchester. His energy, hard, roughneck, red, Detroit red, had to go to prison, sent him on his journey to find himself. Girlfriend told me, oh, now to deal with addiction, now I can't get nobody who reads a book. I gotta get with somebody who lived the street, who can talk to me. So, I don't know. I grew up in Cambridge. I don't know how street my ass is. Little Richie. But Detroit red and having to go gangster. This is about the extent of my gangster. Turn the children's heads. Let me read the back of my shirt. A real man will always support a good woman. Yes. That's about as gangster as I got. Performing in art. The art of cunnilingus. Controversial content. BrotherRA inspires thought. And so I shared with you about gangster. I'll get back to that time is not my friend. So, King said I would be merely stating a fact and not telling the truth. A fact is merely the absence of contradiction. But the truth is the presence of coherence. Truth is the relatedness of facts. Meditation and movement. If I understand the chess game I'm in, the chessboard is a square, and there are 8 squares across and 8 squares up and down. Now, first and foremost, the ancestors understood what a right angle was. So when you deal with pictures and other things, we can interpret the level of the picture in a particular way. And pictures mean so much and have so many connotations, so many innuendos. So, pictures of great and wonderful things, of real life, of what's going on, mind over matter. What you see matters. Here we go. That's what I was looking for earlier. Let's read that real quick. William Edward Burkhart DuBois is considered the most influential African-American thinker of the first half of the 20th century. Born and raised in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, DuBois was largely educated in Cambridge. Blacks were not welcome at Harvard dormitories at that time, so he found room at this house. So, let's take a look at some of the pictures of that house, that neighborhood. Oh, all right, I can't do what I wish for it to do, but let me share with you this other picture. Since time is not my friend, and I won't get into all the details, but if you are what you eat, can you eat that? That is something that is healthy. Blended fruits and vegetables, so that you can survive in the craziness of the society, tapping in to your individuality, tapping into giving your mind all that it needs. You take everything that's in that bowl, blend it up with some other things. Ha ha ha. So, we're looking at trying to get to more of the other pictures I wish to share with you. But as you know, my chi and my energy messes up the energy in the room. I'll have to get back to reading this aspect of, we won't even get into the meditational moments because I can't get to the other audio portions. So we'll have to ad-lib, reading from The Hidden History of Massachusetts. And the pages I wish to read from Lincoln and Jefferson are in this book. Also, let's just do from the beginning. Massachusetts Thanksgiving body count, and after thousands of years of relative harmony and population growth, the imposition of white civilization tragically reversed that trend. In 50 years, the red man had been mostly entirely wiped out. Those remaining were either enslaved in the colony, traded to the Caribbean, for black Africans arbitrarily shot for sport, confined to prison camps euphemistically called reservations. In fact, the model of Indian reservation system in North America had its origins in Massachusetts. A series of legislative acts for better regulations of the Indians established these reservations throughout the Commonwealth. A white overseer was appointed and white Christianity was imposed. By the early 1800s, there were few Indians of pure race remaining. The whites of Massachusetts plainly believed that a good Indian was a dead one. Historian George F. Watson wrote that command was great for a rope maker, John Harrison, what with need for rigging all the ships and a new rope every time an Indian was hanged. Here are some depopulation statistics for the Indians of the Northeast. Can y'all see those numbers? Ghetto TV on King Day. So, Deer Island, the white face of Indian genocide in Massachusetts. Oh, this is what I wish to get to. Africans in the Bay. The acts of barbarity proved upon the slave captains are so extravagant that they've been attributed to insanity. As the white settlements of Massachusetts grew, the labor necessary to support their expansion became more and more in demand. The whites were, for the most part, the dregs, the unwanted, of Europe's prisons, taverns, and poorhouses, and were these seen as too lazy to work. The Indians were well acquainted with the land, too vulnerable to the European disease, and too spiritually adverse to slave conditions for the kind of compulsory employment the intruders had in mind. Kidnapped blacks from Africa were known builders of the first advanced civilizations, were soon targeted, and in 1638, William Pierce captained the Salem-based ship Desire, with the third ship built in New England, and traded 15 captured Indian boys and 2 squaws for a cargo of salt, cotton, tobacco, and Negroes from the Bahamas. In 1641, just 20 years after the Pilgrims landed, Massachusetts became the first American colony to legally establish slavery. Her laws permitted the enslavement of human beings, became the model for New England's slave system. And soon, New England became the most active slave trading in America, with Boston at the heart of the evil enterprise. Go, New England patriots, go kill those Indian chiefs. Yeah, I'm a Patriots fan. Not good for me to get. I'm not upset. It's like it's Father Nature. It's like I have to understand, and this is just a fact, that I inbred to survive on the globe. When I got caught down here, or when I was caught up here, I mean, when the earth was straight up and down, like my spine, there were only melanin dominant people on the planet. But then when Mars almost struck Venus and the electromagnetic pull altered Earth's axis 23 degrees, now I got caught up here, and you know what I'm gonna do if ain't nobody around, but I don't know. The way I think today, if it was just me and my sister left, humanity would end. But that wasn't the way some folks thought. And so, with that in mind, it's like, you have to understand, it's like, as Father Nature, these people did what they had to do. And, it's just difficult to, I mean, you lived off of your instincts and did what you had to do. And in doing what you had to do, you weren't able to spend time. Let me just give you a quick example, if I can, in the remaining seconds. I know I still have a whole lot more to pack up. But do you ever take the time Yo, I'm dope, yo. I'm dope, yo. Pull your pants up, damn it. Do we ever take time for ourselves to go deep within your consciousness? Go deep within yourself, understanding your greatness, appreciating. Okay, so if there was DuBois arguing, the other brother back then, and I'm like, who gave us our values? Why do we value this? Why do we value that? That doesn't make any sense. Who made the decisions? Who taught you how to think? Think about going deep within your greatness. deep, deep within. Not just the outer target, but, oh, I got 2 minutes. Let me share these with you too. I'm like, who, what? Our story. It's like, are we the Manchurian candidate? Whatever it's gonna take, I'm gonna die hard. What did Colin Kaepernick say? Yeah, it's believe in you believe in something, you might as well sacrifice it all. This clock is not my friend. Total Recall, Tuskegee Airmen, We Are in the Matrix, Bill Gattaca, Born Identity, I Am Legend. Okay, I gotta go. See you. Gotta pack up and put this in because she's already standing there waiting to come in, and I gotta get this place.